Welcome to a Wednesday edition of the First Things First podcast. I'm your host, Jenna Wolfe. Catch us Monday through Friday, 6:30 a.m. Eastern on FS1. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts. Tell us what you think and leave us a review. Time now to bring in Nick and the Hall of Famer Cris Carter. All right, let's talk some football. We're going to start with the Dallas Cowboys. We all saw protest after protest around the league during the national anthem this week. What we didn't see was the person who started the movement, either on the field or off, Colin Kaepernick. That, as we continue to wonder when or if he will be back in the NFL. Jerry Jones was asked in a radio interview why Kaepernick is still unemployed. Take a listen.
But it's real obvious to me that it's being based upon teams assessing what he can bring to the team as a player. And make no mistake about it, if the team needs quarterback, they're looking to see who can help them move that football down the field. And performance is, in my mind, is the complete criteria for getting on a squad at this time of the year for sure.
So, Nick, let me start with you. Jerry Jones said it. If a team needs a quarterback, you might be seeing Colin Kaepernick in the league. Are you buying, though, that Kaepernick isn't in the NFL because of football reasons?
Of course not. And I don't think Jerry Jones actually believes it's because of football reasons. Because Jerry Jones is a smart guy. Jerry Jones has been around the National Football League for as long as I've been alive.
Yes.
And Jerry Jones, while he might not know this exact number, he knows that this is true, that in league history, there have been 143 quarterbacks who've thrown at least 200 passes in their age 29 season, who the following season wanted to play, and 142 of them had jobs. The one who did not is Colin Kaepernick. Jerry Jones knows that Colin Kaepernick last year, throw out everything that he did running the football, where he led the league in yards per carry, where he was, according to advanced metrics, the league's most deadly red zone threat. Throw all that out, stuff he did with his legs. Jerry Jones knows that Colin Kaepernick was around 22nd or 23rd in quarterback effectiveness last season in a league that's going to employ 90 guys. Jerry Jones knows that while people sling the arrow of Kaepernick being 4-20 in his last 24 starts, that Josh McCown was 2-22 in his last 24 and got $6 million a year from the Jets. Jerry Jones knows that Colin Kaepernick was doing this with Jeremy Curley, a guy named Patton, and the bad Selleck in the league. Garrett Selleck is his leading pass catchers. Guys who through 2 weeks of the season had 4 combined catches. Jerry Jones knows all those things. And yet Colin Kaepernick's unemployed. So no, of course it's not because of football reasons. And Jerry Jones knows it's not because of football reasons.
Nick, you bring up great points. But Jenna, I'm not going to go by what Jerry Jones knows because I've been associated with the league just as long. I'm going to go by what I know. All right? Jerry Jones has one quarterback on his roster that's better than Cap, and that's Dak. He's a superstar. All right? So you saying Jerry Jones knows that. He's got 2 people he's paying right now. All right? Who are the quarterbacks in Dallas, Nick?
Kellen Moore.
Yeah, oh yeah. Okay, let's just stop with him. All right? Since Jerry knows all this stuff. All right? Colin Kaepernick will always, even if Colin Kaepernick never plays another down, Kellen Moore will never reach to be a starter the way Cap was. So you're giving Jerry too much credit. All right? I'm going to tell you what I know. There's a bunch of bums playing quarterback in the NFL. All right? There's 5 to 7 starters and all the backups. Like all the backups, you could make a case for Colin Kaepernick. Now, I do understand fit. I preach system. Yes, but they fit these guys who can't play in any system compared to saying that only Cap can be in a certain system with a certain coach. So I'm going to tell you what I do know. Jerry is trying to please the other 31 owners. He's also trying to help out Roger Goodell in the PR with the NFL. All right? Because Jerry Jones, you giving him a lot of credit. This is what I know. Jerry Jones was not for any type of formal protest. Jerry Jones got forced on his knee on Monday night. You know why, Nick? Because the other 15 games that preceded him. And he didn't want to be embarrassed. And he had plenty of players who wanted to show some type of support for Colin Kaepernick and the others around the league that had been in full display. I'm going to tell you what Jerry Jones knows, too. He wrote that check for Donald Trump for the inauguration. All right? He gave him $1 million. He's been outspoken against protest, saying he's correlating it like a lot of people that the protest is about disrespecting the flag. Mm-hmm. And Jerry knows that that's not true. So you might give Jerry a credit for a lot of things he knows. I got to go by what I know, Nick. And I've seen too many guys signed where Colin Kaepernick was not even given an offer, not even a tryout.
Not even a tryout.
And I'm going to finish with this. He said it's based on performance. Tell me one guy that's gotten signed, besides Jay Cutler, that's more accomplished as a passer than Colin. Jerry can't be right.
Jenna, as you rock back and forth.
Nothing changed on Sunday. Nothing changed. The owners didn't change their feeling towards Kaepernick based on what happened on Sunday. They may have all unified. A lot of them may have knelt. A lot of them interlocked arms. It didn't change the way they felt about Colin Kaepernick. We have danced around and had this exact same conversation. I will say not everyone agrees, but the three of us agree that Colin Kaepernick is talented enough to play in the NFL. That goes without question. But these owners still feel the exact same way they did before all of this happened.
Can I ask you a question about that? Because you said nothing changed on Sunday.
No, nothing changed towards the owners. Towards Kaepernick.
Here is what I think did change. And I think it is perfect that Jerry Jones is the one saying this, because Jerry Jones, to me, is the face of it. You know what did change? The teams with Jerry Jones at the forefront, national television, taking a knee. You know what they debunked? This idea that distractions are something they care about. Am I crazy?
Yes.
Did Jerry Jones not think he's going to be asked about this? My players are going to be asked about this.
It's different. That is the conversation being had in the NFL right now. And every team is getting asked it. It's just with the Cowboys. If Kaepernick is on that Cowboys roster, there is a swarm of media every day for the rest of the season asking every single person.
As opposed to the last 30 years in Dallas.
You said that what happened on Sunday isn't a distraction. It now is.
Jenna, you cannot convince me that Jerry kneeling did not lead to more questions. It led to this. Yes. It led to the discussion. But the teams recognized it doesn't actually matter. And so if I can for a moment, because I know, Jenna, there's one point on this, you and I, there's actually 2 points we really agree on. One is that Cap's good enough to play. The other is that it is curious that Cap has not spoken. Like, Cris talked to him on the street, and Cris had a conversation with him.
He was approached by a media outlet on the street.
That Cap has not said, hey, 60 minutes, I'll sit down. We agree on that. But can I level set real quick on this? I just want, for the audience as a whole, there are a few things that are going around about Colin Kaepernick that are just factually inaccurate. If I could debunk them quickly. People that want to say it's about performance. I have people tweet to me every day, oh, if he's so good, why was he benched for Blaine Gabbert? But he wasn't. Blaine Gabbert was benched for him. Well, you know what Cap shouldn't have done? Cap shouldn't have opted out of his deal with the Niners. Well, that would be a good point. If John Lynch, the GM of the Niners, wasn't on the record saying if he hadn't opted out, we would have cut him.
Absolutely.
Well, Cap wants $10 million. No one credible is reporting that.
Nope.
Cap has not said it. His people have not said it. Well, Cap doesn't want to play anymore. Cris, you talk to him.
He wants to play.
Okay. So, the thing is, Cap's not popular in the locker room. Except his teammates gave him the highest honor with the Niners. Except both of his pro coaches have advocated for him. Cap just isn't good enough. Except the two best people in the world, maybe ever, at playing quarterback, Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, both on the record
Nick,
saying he's good enough.
We get it. He's good enough. You have a ton of numbers to back it up. He's good enough to play. He mentioned to Cris he wants to play. Make a case for yourself, Colin Kaepernick. If Sunday wasn't a big enough stage for you to at least tweet something, you don't want to get out and say it wasn't?
His message has gotten confused. No, wait a second.
Let me just finish my point.
Go right ahead.
Let me just say, if Sunday wasn't a big enough stage for you to at least say, hey, how about just this? Thank you. Or now you
Thank you
understand.
for what?
Or thank you for being on my side, for being with.
They
weren't kneeling with him, but
the message got diluted on Sunday.
That. They would never have knelt on Sunday if this was not for Colin Kaepernick. Do you agree with me? This all started from Colin Kaepernick, but maybe he does. It started.
They were not kneeling for Kaepernick. They were kneeling because they were challenged by the White House,
which would never have been an issue if it wasn't for Colin Kaepernick. He started all of this. Either say something for the protest.
That's just what you would do, Jenna. And that don't make it right or wrong.
It doesn't make it right or wrong.
Everyone always likes to live through another person.
If you want to play football, tell the world you want to play football. If you want to say
he has told the world.
He told you he will not talk to anyone. Someone came up to him and asked him a question.
No NFL owner will call him. No one's made him an offer, Jenna. No one will give him a workout. So now he should just talk to random people when his messages
random people. He has the stage.
What stage?
He has a Twitter account where everyone's following him, and everyone has a microphone in his face.
It doesn't matter, Jenna, if the owners will not sign him, all right? Jerry Jones put it out there. Oh, it's about his talent. And that's what the owners are hiding behind. But that is a flat-out lie. And I believe you're wrong in thinking that Cap, just because you would do it, does not make it right for every person to do it. Cap has done a significant job in setting the tone for where we are right now. Now, if he don't want to speak, I support Cap. So I support if he wants to speak or if he does not want to speak.
He has the right to not speak.
Why do you think it would make a difference? Let me just ask this. Hold on.
I would love to answer that
because
question.
I feel like it would just would make you feel better. But do you think it would help him get signed?
You want to talk just football? Here's what he does. And it's what all other athletes do when they want something. This is what we have. It is an incredibly powerful tool. Put out a couple videos of you practicing. I know you don't want that, and I know that some people don't want to see it, and I know he doesn't have to do it and shouldn't feel like he has to do it. Put a couple videos of you out catching a ball. Put a couple videos of you out training, going through some
None of the other guys
practices.
Are doing it. None of those other guys
Odell
who can't
did it
play.
instead of OTAs. He was showing videos of him playing and practicing. I'm just saying, give us an idea that this is the direction you're going in.
I ask you this as one of the smartest people I know. Do you think that actually helps? Or does that just check this off the list?
I think this is the only way he's got even a remote chance of a shot at getting a call by an owner. So that they can't say, well, I don't know if he wants to play. I don't know if he's in shape. I don't think he's good enough. Squash all those rumors. You got
7 owners, all right, 7 of the 32. We know San Francisco's not going to give him a job. And we know that there's a limited number of teams for fit. We got 7 owners that gave Donald Trump $1 million for his inauguration. So you think he's going to those teams?
All I'm saying is put yourself in a position where you could say, I literally did everything, and now they did.
It's not Cap's fault. The NFL is about the 1,600 best players, and today, as we sit, it's not the best 1,600 players because Cap is not on the field.
Ray Lewis joins us this morning. Hey, Ray, how you doing?
Hey, good morning.
Thanks for being with us.
Absolutely.
So a day of protests and unity around the NFL started early on Sunday morning when the Ravens and the Jaguars took the field in London. A bunch of players locked arms, were even joined by Jags owner Shad Khan. Some players took knees, and it appeared that you, Ray Lewis, joined him. Ray, tell us about what happened on Sunday.
Yeah, I think it was a totally different culture. You know, I'm talking about around the league that I'm in London, and the only thing that you can talk about is...
Ray, why were you in London?
Oh.
Just for the people.
Yeah, the NFL brought me to London.
Right, you and a number of other players?
Yep, me and Jonathan Ogden.
Okay.
Steve Smith was over there. Ed Reed was over there. And so a bunch of Ravens, they brought a bunch of Ravens back to go in the community, hang out with the kids. We went to the Tower, the Cathedral, just saw a lot of different things, learned a lot of different things. And it was one of the most incredible experiences I think I've had in my life, like in London. I've been to London a lot. But to go back and not have nothing to think about, just to actually view the city. So, yeah, we was in London just hanging out. And where was I going?
About your decision to take part in the demonstration.
Yeah, and so I want to always correct you when people say that. You say, because when people say I took part in a demonstration. Taking part in a demonstration means I would have took one knee. I took two knees. One knee is for the team, two knees is for Jesus. And you ask yourself, I want us to think about something, right? We're here, and for the last 3 days, every piece of conversation is about, oh, who's kneeling, who's standing. It's never been about the flag, right? But watch this. How quickly have we forgot about Hurricane Harvey? How quickly have we forgotten about Irma?
Oh, yeah, quick.
How quickly have we forgot about the church shooting that just happened in Nashville? I told Shannon something last night as a brother. This fight for me, I'm done with. Because it's a bunch of everybody's talking, but I can guarantee you this. There's no person that you'll ever meet that wakes up every day right. There's nobody that wakes up every day right. But we've found ourselves in a conflict of chaos. And our league is one of the leagues that relieves people from that tension of stress because we can watch a football game, because we can have excitement, because we can get away from the everyday stresses of life. And now you have these young kids going into football games, and the last thing on their mind is football. But if you're me, when I played the game, when I got up every morning, I fell on my knees to pray that the Lord will bring me out safely in a game that's so harsh.
You mentioned, I watched it last night Inside the NFL. Mm-hmm. The audience probably isn't familiar with that. When you mentioned Shannon Sharp from Undisputed had comments on Monday, and I know you and Shannon have spoken. I just want to make sure people know what we're talking about. Yeah. You've made it's been very clear that it's important to you to make the distinction between the one knee and the two knees. And that you would, previous and post, I don't disavow is maybe the wrong word, but you have objected to players taking one knee.
Yes.
Any protest.
Okay, so can you explain the distinction that you're drawing between what you did and the guys who you're locking arms with, what they did?
I'm a teammate. I'm a brother. Just so happened I'm not playing that game anymore. So the comments that Trump made or whatever this guy makes, no, I'm not offended by that because I'm not the one that's doing all that. But I see so many guys, and it's rage, and every tweet, and owners are tweeting, and all these people are tweeting. And I'm like, really? So what does a leader do? What does a leader do? A leader leads. A leader doesn't go out and say, oh, I gotta, no. I looked at these young babies and I said, I gotta do something that only God will understand. And I asked myself, what would Jesus do in a time of this chaos? And I took both knees.
Ray, I was on the NFL sideline Sunday too. I was at the Eagles and the Giants game. One of the reasons why I was there was our friend Odell. I talked to Odell before the game. He was conflicted.
I heard you talk about that.
Now, I made a conscious decision, Ray, to leave that field before the game started.
Right.
The reason why? Because it wasn't about me. And the optics would have not been good. Are you concerned with the optics based on what you said? Also, the comments with Colin Kaepernick, because we're getting a long way away from Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, I'm Cris, I want to make sure we control all context, because that's where everything always gets messed up at. Your decision as a man to do what you did is your decision.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, right?
It's not about being right or
it's not
being
about
wrong,
that.
But it's a choice that I had thought out. Now, also,
which
Ray,
I didn't.
Also, Ray, I saw you on TV.
Yeah.
And your decision, it helped me.
Yeah.
Because that was before. It was early. It was a 9:30 kickoff.
Yeah.
So I saw you. And I don't know why you were on the field. I thought you might be there for the coin toss, but I knew being part of that brotherhood would bring you to where you were. I saw you when the guys went to take a knee.
Yeah.
You were on one knee. Something changed. And I saw you. You moved your legs out and you got on two knees. The one thing I've been trying to explain to them was that is a really really special moment, the national anthem, and you and the prayers that we say before the game.
Yeah.
Now, I was conflicted seeing you on the field with the players, given that Kaepernick and the conversation about him and all these other distractions, and that guy still wasn't playing.
Right. Yeah, but see, every time it happens this way, because we take the story and we twist it to back. This has absolutely nothing to do with Colin Kaepernick. Absolutely nothing. That's where I think you're missing the whole point.
No.
Hold on. Listen to me. When we say.
So people taking a knee now has nothing to do with Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, I'm talking about me.
Okay.
Me.
All right.
That's why I keep saying
yes, okay, I got that.
Get confused in this. When I dropped on 2 knees, I did the coin toss. I was there for the coin toss.
Okay,
I was watching the coin toss.
Okay.
I walked the little kid out.
Right. So that's the reason why you're on the field.
That's the reason why I'm even on the field, right? And so I'm caught in this thing when we're walking back. And so when we got there, because I want to make sure I keep this where it is, when you think about what people say when you're not close to Hurricane Irma or Hurricane Harvey or whatever, right? What do you say? We send our thoughts and prayers.
Yes.
That's what we say. That's what we say. As a leader, I took a step to say, in the midst of chaos,
right,
I'm praying. I'm not, I told Shannon this last night. We keep talking about Kaepernick and Trump. Man, listen, the issue is I'm watching babies not playing the game that we only get one chance at. Honor your moments. You gotta honor your moments. You know this, because when they're done, they're done.
I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Ray, this is about the best players ever played this game. I'm disturbed by the fact that a player who took a knee is not being signed to an NFL team. And now we got hundreds of guys taking the knee for different stuff when this guy can't get a job. When he said he wasn't going to take a knee this year, he can't be gainfully employed.
If I let you or anyone else draw me into that discussion,
well, the truth of the matter is, Ray,
because that's not the truth. The truth of the matter is, if we're talking about a signing, we're talking about a guy.
Is Colin Kaepernick good enough to play in the NFL, Ray?
I've always said that.
Okay, all right.
Did Colin Kaepernick lose his job before we started all this? Absolutely.
No, he didn't.
No. Listen to me. When Colin Kaepernick, whether he got ready to do whatever he was going to do, you, as well as Shannon, I'm going to say this again. Y'all keep confusing this. Today, I go before the Lord and I rebuke all evil, that you will not put words in my mouth. I love you as a brother. I love Shannon as a brother. But listen to me. No. Because this is where it always gets out of hand. Can Colin Kaepernick play in the league? Absolutely. Is that my decision to make? Absolutely not.
No, but Ray, hold on. Listen, and I don't know you nearly as well as Cris knows you, but I think you know I respect you. Yeah. And we've had nothing but good interactions. So this is me, something of an outsider. To now say you're removing yourself from all of it. Ray, you were one of the faces of the guys that met with the president. You were. Like, that was a conscious decision as a grown man. You were the one that broke the news that the Ravens were about to sign him and then changed their minds. So I don't understand. And you were trying
to help make that happen.
I don't understand.
I've talked to other people as well. John Wooden, Jim Brown. Yeah, yes. a lot of people. I do a lot of stuff.
Of course. No, and I'm not doubting that. I'm not doubting.
And we say that to give you credit.
But John Wooden right now isn't in the news. Why are you right now in this moment removing yourself from it when it feels like you were one of the guys?
You keep missing my point.
I apologize if
I am removing myself from rhetoric that ends up being nothing. If we're just talking, if we're having debate shows, just talking, and you think you're right, and you think you're right, and Shannon thinks he's right, and I'm thinking my right, it's irrelevant. Like I told Shannon, if we do not come together as brothers, if me and Shannon can argue at the house all day long. But when you get on television, you can't speak the same exact way, because if you do, somebody takes your side, somebody says, oh, Ray Lewis is the biggest jerk ever because he don't believe in Colin Kaepernick. That's so much bull. And I'm not gonna let you or no one else put me in that position anymore.
Ray, listen,
no, listen.
I'm not trying to
Nobody has to explain anything to me anymore. All I'm saying is, let's have an educated conversation, because I've watched this happen too many times. I've watched people go and say, well, why Colin Kaepernick? And that has nothing to do with Ray Lewis.
Okay, and hold on. And you keep bringing up Shannon, and with respect to that, that's got nothing to do with Chris or I.
But man.
And this is, if Shannon had never said anything, there were questions that I, as a guy that knows you, watched you, the whole situation would have. So take the entire Shannon thing out of it.
Right.
My question for you is, given the fact that you are someone that met with President Trump, given what he said Friday, given what you had said, and given your relationship to the Kaepernick situation, do you feel the same way about all of those things that you did Thursday that you do today? Like, did anything change for you from Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Yes, what changed is we need prayer. We need prayer.
Colin Kaepernick need a job.
Maybe. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, he deserves the same right
if
that
he does,
we've lived out.
If he does. And guess what? Chris Carter will get applause because you're right today.
No, Ray.
But
it's not a matter of being right. But you mentioned the Bible. Let me tell you what the Bible says.
Tell me what it says.
You do to the least of them, you do unto me.
And it also says, love thy neighbor as thyself.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and we're trying to do that.
So if we're trying to do that, then we have to create a culture of what prayer really looks like. We have to we pray when we pray before we come out the locker room. So why don't we pray in front of the entire stadium? At my son's high school, at Bishop Moore High School, they used to always pray that everybody will understand each other and come out safely. I keep telling us, the only thing, I'm not frustrated about anything. I just want to make sure, because we get on TV and it sounds great, but then you have all of these people who can't understand the intellect of what we're talking about, and then they take this thing as hate and this and that. I've said this before, I have put Kaepernick's name in my Bible. I pray for this kid. That's what I'm built to do. Why did I drop on 2 knees in London? Because I'm praying for our country, that we stop most of this divisiveness and stop just making everybody get on one side or another. You can have an opinion in America and still be black. You can have an opinion in America and not be racist. You can have an opinion about this topic, and simply all I'm saying is, if you want anything from Ray Lewis, we got to go back to prayer. We got to go back to loving each other. Mark Schler just said it getting off this set, the biggest thing we're missing, and that's love in this country.
Ray, there ain't no subject. We done been through everything. There ain't no subject me and you can't talk about, and I'm gonna love you.
But our babies, but do our babies understand that intellect? Because we are displaying this in front of our kids.
But I feel like that's your gripe with someone other than Chris.
No, that's not. That's not a gripe.
Not gripe. It's the wrong word.
Yeah.
Chris and I haven't had your name in our mouths on any of this. What we have done is, now that you're here, have questions, and it feels to me like you have some frustration with things said in other platforms that got nothing to do with this. There are questions that we wanted to ask you. You've made it clear where you stand on this, whether people agree or disagree. Nobody's questioning your blackness. Nobody's questioning I don't think anyone's questioning where your heart is. I think people question when they saw you on 2 knees, they question the consistency. You have made it very clear. You draw a huge distinction between 1 knee and 2 knees. You've now made it clear why you did it. But none of that undercuts things done before, but I do think that, does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes plenty of sense, actually.
No, we appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always.
Absolutely, man.
The Steelers made headlines on Sunday when they elected to stay in the tunnel for the national anthem. Ben Roethlisberger came out and said, quote, he lost sleep over how the team handled the situation, saying he wished the team had been on the field. Head coach Mike Tomlin was asked how the Steelers can find a middle ground with their demonstrations.
Hey, man, that's for you political beatniks to ponder. We're a football group, man. You're asking us about middle ground. You're asking us about right or left. We're a football group. That's what you guys don't understand. We don't care, largely professionally speaking. We have personal opinions, yes. Professionally, we're about to kick a ball off. You guys ever thought to wonder what's going through a man's head as he stands there respectfully and listens to the anthem? He's probably thinking about a myriad of things that's going to happen when that ball kicks off. If you asked them after the game who did the anthem, they probably couldn't tell you. Anybody ever think about that?
So, guys, I loved what he had to say. I listened to it two or three times.
I loved how he said it.
He was
just
mad.
punching you with each word.
He was right there. And it brought up a lot of things that people that have never played the game never thought about. So you have a few minutes, 2-3 minutes, whatever it is, when the national anthem is playing. And the minute that's done, like, you're going to battle. And I don't think we realize how much is probably going through your heads when you're sitting there and you're preparing for the game, and it's the only like beat of like solitude you will have for the next like 3 or 4 hours. Could you both talk about what he was referring to and what those few minutes right before the game is like for you? And are you thinking about the national anthem, or are you thinking about a million other things?
There are several moments that when you retire from this game, people ask you, what do you miss? And you always miss the locker room, because the group of individuals, you'll never be a part of such a unique, broad, young, affluent, ambitious group the rest of your life. Like, we're very, very fortunate to have long careers, and we've gone on to do other jobs and have another career. But Mark will tell you, it's nothing like being in the NFL. There's 2 big moments before the game. One is when you bow and say the Lord's Prayer in the locker room. Mm-hmm. And then the referee knocks on the door and tells you got 2 minutes to get to the field. Once you get to the field, I was taught by Buddy Ryan from my first game. He showed us a clip where he was videotaping the national anthem. He said, if you want to get a fast way out of Philadelphia, disrespect the national anthem. Don't have your helmet in your right arm underneath you. Don't have your toes on the line. I will cut you. If I can cut you in the middle of the game, I'll cut you in the middle of the game. But if I see the film after the game, I'll cut you immediately after the game. Now, as far as the national anthem, because only a few people play this game, to me, that was the moment where, yes, it meant something to me. I was so proud to be an American, so proud for the opportunity it's presented to me and my family through football. The next thing I would do was always say a prayer, because you're a fool to think that you can go into an NFL game and not lose your life. I used to tell God, I want to go into this game and I want to come out of this game. I was praying for the safety of every player. I never prayed for success. I prayed for the safety of every man on that field, that we could walk off that field afterwards. So the national anthem, it does play a huge role in the NFL and in getting ready for a game. But the transition from hearing that song to what you're getting ready to go through, the physical combat for the next 3 hours, it's a tough transition. And there's a lot of things going through your mind. But for me, it was about being safe and about being thankful for the opportunity that football was presenting to me.
You know what? I couldn't say it any better. You guys have to understand that for me, throughout my career, there was never a game, including preseason games, that I didn't vomit in a trash can before I went out to play.
Yes.
I was so nervous about, not only my performance, but most importantly, not letting my teammates down. Like, not making a mistake that cost us a game. I just was so nervous about playing this game. Didn't matter who I was playing against, and it didn't matter if it was preseason. I will throw open a trash can. That's just the way it was. And going out.
What was happening back here before
yes,
you got
that was
out on
happening
set?
earlier.
Right.
Yes, it's just a tradition now. But as I went out and took the field, now you have to remember there was, I don't know how many national anthems I ever actually went out for, because this is something during the course of our career that not everybody did it. Yeah, it was a partial thing. So I don't.
You're saying during your career, some of the time you guys stayed in the locker room.
No, yeah, it wasn't. There's this whole paid for patriotism aspect to the national anthem, where I don't know that when I was in Washington that we ever actually went out for a national anthem. I don't remember doing it. I remember doing some playoff games, but I don't remember being out there for. I know I played 3.
Was for you wanted the extra time, or you just didn't?
They just didn't have us go out. It was just the way it was.
It became league-wide, I believe, in 2009.
Right.
I think it was up to each, with the deal with the Department of Defense, if I'm not mistaken. So go ahead, but I just.
But when I was out there, man, it was a time, like Cris said, it was a time to honor our country and to be thankful for the opportunity. And the opportunity is this: not that I wasn't scared, but the opportunity was I get to live out my childhood dream. Since the time I was 12, the only thing I ever wanted to be was a football player. And that comes with sacrifice. And so you're thankful for that. And as Cris said, you know, your prayers and praying for safety. And I'm 100% with you on all that stuff because you understand. I mean, there was never a game that I went into that I felt good. I used to pray before I went in my locker room. Before I left the locker room, I would be in my locker. And I used to have this imaginary jar that I would pray, just hold my pain. Just let me play efficiently for the 7 seconds that I have to play. I'll accept it in the huddle, and I'll accept it after the play. But just let me be there for my teammates for these 7 seconds for 65 plays that I can play well for those guys. And then I'll gladly accept it when I come back in the locker room, and I'll gladly accept it for the rest of the week. But just give me the opportunity to go out there and perform for these guys. Because ultimately, for me, is every guy that I ever played with, every guy that worked at the organization that I worked for was more important than me. And that's how I've tried to live my life. And so that's when I stood there, I thought about all the other people that I've sacrificed so that I could play this game. And that's what it was for me.
Mark, did you think about, and we asked CC this yesterday, did you think about how you would handle the situation? I mean, I'm sure something a lot of former players are dealing with now. What you would do if you were still playing today?
You know, I hear so many people talk about, you know, it's an affront to the anthem. It's, you know, disrespectful to the flag. You know what's disrespectful to the flag is that we live in a society where we don't love each other. That's disrespectful. We live in a society where we have never been more connected from a technology standpoint and less connected as people. I walked through the streets of New York yesterday and I almost got run over 15 times because people are doing this while they're walking through the streets. There's no contact.
I said I was sorry, and I feel like you just keep bringing it up.
No.
I apologize like 4 times.
But we're not connected. That's an affront to this country. Right. You know, I heard Greg Popovich say this, and it broke my heart. You know, my dad never told me, hey, if you get pulled over by police, you know, if you get pulled over by police, this is how you act. You know that as a white guy, I've never told my kids, I've never even thought about it, never crossed my mind. Greg Popovich said this, and I've talked to several people since. He said, every black friend that I have has told their kids how to act and how to behave if the police pull you over or the police, you know, confront you. That's a sad statement on where we are as a country. And for me, it's about recognizing that there are inequalities in this country. And it's not about disrespecting the flag. It's about saying, hey, this is not right. And what are we going to do about this? And for the people who say, well, listen, you know, it's not the right place at the right time. Well, what is the right place at the right time? Where you can't see it, so it doesn't make an impact on you? What would have happened? What would have happened if Rosa Parks gave up her seat and then just wrote a strongly worded letter to the bus company? Nothing. Nothing would have happened. Unless we're uncomfortable about it, unless we're honest about it, unless we look at it through that prism, and unless we have compassion and kindness and love in our hearts, then nothing is going to change. And so for me, I would support every one of my teammates. I don't know that I would kneel.
Right.
But I would support my teammates because I do recognize some of the inequities that go on in this country. I see it.
And that was some of the conversation, Mark, that I was having with younger players before Sundays came. And they're like, you know, what do I do? I said, I can't tell you what to do, but I'm going to tell you what you are. Support your teammates.
Right.
And how you do that's totally up to you. But you need to support your teammates. This is a team sport, and you should be united as a team. And Mike Tomlin's right. Man, we're football players. We haven't been involved in politics. Really don't. A bunch of them don't have strong views. And a lot of these guys are scared for their job. They working check to check, week to week. Why should I express myself on something that people are getting grief about? Famous people, Steph Curry, LeBron, and I'm sitting here trying to stay on the football team and take care of my spouse or my kid, or like, no. Why? So a lot of people are forced into what's happening in the protest.
And they all saw what happened to Colin Kaepernick. I mean, he stood up for himself, and now he doesn't have a job. And if you want to connect the two, you can. According to reports, Dwayne Wade will sign with the Cleveland Cavaliers later today. This move will reunite him with LeBron James, his teammate for 4 years in Miami, where together They won 2 titles. Nick, are the Cavs better with Wade this year than they were last year?
They are certainly deeper. And the depth is what killed them in the finals. The people see that the finals went 4-1 Golden State, and they think, oh, well, the Cavs had no shot. They ignore the fact that the Cavs were 1 Kyle Korver 3 in the corner away from that thing being 2-2, best of 3. And they ignore this fact. In the finals, that the Cavs lost 4-1. With LeBron James on the court, Cavs were beat per 100 possessions 118-117, meaning about as close as you can get. When LeBron James rested during the finals, they were beat 112-75, outscored by 37 points per 100 possessions when LeBron James on the bench. Now you have Dwayne Wade, who can play with and without LeBron. Wade's not still a great player, but he's still a useful player. You add Isaiah Thomas. You add Jay Crowder. And people are going to say, yeah, but you lose Kyrie Irving. Let me just remind America that last season, when LeBron wasn't on the court, which is what we're talking about, but Kyrie Irving was, the Cavs were awful. They were outscored by 8 points per 100 possessions when Kyrie was out there, but LeBron was not. That team fell apart without LeBron. If Dwayne Wade helped stem that, then of course it makes them better.
LeBron, he always likes familiar faces. One of his favorite teammates of all time, besides Dwayne Wade, James Jones, the champ. That's what he calls him, right?
Yep.
Champ. And he likes traveling around. He likes working out. He likes interacting with some of these guys. There's no one in the NBA that's logged more minutes with LeBron than D. Wade. Now, my only problem with D. Wade going there is I know Cleveland can only play him 55 to 60 games.
That might be a little much.
Now, because he is not an 80-game.
20, 25 minutes a game.
Yes, but is he an upgrade? The combination of him and J.R. Smith at the 2, another ball handler. J.R. struggles handling the ball and is only effective beyond the 3. So D. Wade can be used in the pick and roll. He can also relieve LeBron as far as some of the ball handling. And let's not forget Derrick Rose. So not only did they get better, but their second unit got a lot better.
Is this it for the Cavs? Are they a move or 2 moves away? Or if this is the team that starts the season, you're happy with this team taking you all the way?
If you have the best player in a series, you always have a good chance to win that series. The Cavs will have the best. Without this move, they would have the best player in any series they played. So they were a championship contender before this move. This move helps them. If they end up flipping that Brooklyn pick for a legitimate player, as I laid out yesterday, how they could add Boogie Cousins without, if people want to see it, they could add, if you trade Iman Shumpert, Iman Shumpert, Channing Frye, and that Nets pick, that works to get Boogie Cousins. Then all of a sudden, we can show you what that lineup looks like now that D. Wade is officially a part of it, and you see a starting 5 of Isaiah Thomas, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Kevin Love, DeMarcus Cousins, and then a bench, Rose, JR, Crowder, Kyle Korver. I know you're higher on Jeff Green than I am, but then the team goes from the contender in the East to the favorite, no matter what Golden State does. The Cavs were closer last year than people give them credit for, and people are going to compare D. Wade CC to D. Wade in 2010. You don't have to be that guy.
No.
He's making the league minimum. He's got to be better than what they had. And is he better than what they had?
Yes, and also D. Wade is the kind of guy that before halftime, because the NBA is about how you kind of end the quarters, D. Wade can get you, in the last 5 minutes, second quarter, he can get you 12 points. When LeBron is on the bench, he can be the go. He can run the offense through him. In the fourth quarter, can he get you a bucket? Can you run an isolation? Can you run a play to him? Yes, and his overall championship experience calms the nerves inside the locker room. So there's a benefit to signing that veteran experience.
Especially if there is a chance that Isaiah Thomas isn't available until January.
Right.
Yes.
You got a guy in there that comes right in.
Well, the Cavs as a whole are obviously, it's not like the West where the home court really could matter because there are so many really good teams.
Right.
I don't believe the Celtics are a true contender. I just told the audience what Kyrie, when he's the best player on the court, what his team does. That wasn't the case for Isaiah Thomas last year. When he was out there, The Celtics, as the best player, Celtics were outscoring people, and that was going up against teams' best units. So you just need the Cavs to be operating at full capacity by end of February, beginning of March. That's what we're talking about here.
Right. And those expectations really help out a older team. You're talking about guys who, Richard Jefferson, thought about retiring. D. Wade is up there. Fry, he's up there. Like all these guys, when you have that, and they showed that last year with Boston. Boston was the #1 seed, took it away immediately. And I agree with you on that point, but I believe D. Wade, man, his ability to be a playmaker off the dribble instead of J.R. Smith, or the combination of both of them is an upgrade for the position.
Instead of Darren Williams.
Assistant coaches from USC, Arizona, Auburn, and Oklahoma State are among 10 people facing charges as a result of an FBI probe into college basketball corruption. The University of Louisville has also confirmed that it is included in the investigation, which accuses coaches of taking bribes to steer players towards agents, advisors, and sportswear companies. CeCe, you've been through the NCAA system. How surprised were you by all of this, top to bottom? There's a lot to consume here.
Well, first of all, not surprised at all. This has been going on in basketball for over 30 years.
What has been going on?
As far as payment through shoe companies to handlers, family, typically with a recruited athlete. There's one decision maker or one point of contact. And in recruiting, those who are good at it, they know that they must secure that relationship. And that will help secure the kid coming to your university. So from an apparel standpoint, especially with AAU, what the shoe companies have done is they try to get the kids in the shoes and in gear by that company as soon as possible. So you're talking about kids as young as 10 years old to 14 being sponsored by shoe companies. It's been happening for a long, long time. Then when Michael Jordan got signed, things began to change. There became a lot of individual money in the shoe game. So Adidas tried to get into the shoe game with Nike. Nike was dominant at that point. Adidas signed some prominent high school players. Tracy McGrady, they signed. I think they went after Kobe earlier. Signed.
They had Kobe.
Yes.
They had Kobe.
And so it started to trickle down to, wow, these one and dones. So not only did the shoe company start getting more specific, but they really started targeting the one and done players. The ones either going to play 1 year or they're going straight from high school, which Kobe was able to do. So they've been trying to get money to the handlers. So if I can get this kid signed a shoe contract, forget about the 1 year or 0 years he's going to play in college. They're also negotiating a fee on the length of their pro career. So we see these shoe contracts now, $100, $200 million. These handlers and financial advisors are giving money to parents and people who are around this athlete so they can secure their rights. So there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. And it's been going on for a long time. This is just the beginning. I was part of an FBI investigation in college at Ohio State. And when the feds call you, they have the answers to the questions. And yesterday, what was really intriguing was in their press conference, they warned college basketball players, call us.
Coaches, I think.
Coaches, yes. Call us before we call you because we have your game plan. So this is just the beginning.
The quote that was in what was released yesterday, what we've released here, quote, does not include all of the facts I have learned during the course of this investigation. And that's when they then said, and here's the phone number. So they are letting you know we got a lot more than this.
Yes.
This is just so if you want to tell on yourself, and if you think you might be caught up in this, we could take it easier on you. My reaction is a little different than yours, Cris.
Wait, before you give your reaction, just break down simply for people that are just sort of figuring out what's happening here. The crux of the investigation is what?
The crux of the investigation is that shoe companies along with the universities, shoe companies are paying players to go. The different universities, there's Nike schools, there's Adidas schools, there's Under Armour schools.
Right.
And so you want a player. Listen, my son's not going to be a professional basketball player, but my son plays college basketball. He played on the AAU circuit. His team was sponsored by Adidas. So all the kids got free Adidas gear. That's legal, by the way.
Yes.
The hope is that one of the kids,
one out of 100.
Right. One of these kids is going to be a pro. He's going to be like, man, I wore Adidas in high school. Yep. I went to an Adidas school. I might as well sign with Adidas. The shoe companies are just casting a bunch of what do you call it when you're fishing? Reels? I don't know. I apologize. Thank you, Cris. Casting a bunch of lines saying it's worth $100,000 here, $10,000 here, $5,000 here if one of these guys is James Harden. If one of these guys ends up becoming.
Okay, so
that's the idea.
Okay.
So for me, and Cris is going to kill me on this, I think this was a great day for college sports. Because at some point, this got to get torn down. The way we do things here has to be torn down. And it's not going to be torn down through Yahoo Sports investigations. It's not going to be torn down through ham-handed NCAA probation. We're vacating this title. It's going to be torn down when people realize there are tens to hundreds of millions of dollars floating out there that people are grabbing, except for the young kids, by the way, mostly poor, overwhelmingly black, who get paid in an education a lot of them can't take advantage of, room and board. And not only can the schools not pay them, Adidas can't pay them, Nike can't pay them. So the more this gets pulled away, and we realize this is ridiculous. The highest paid employee in 48 states is either the football or basketball coach at the big state school. The highest paid state employee. It is ridiculous that we've got this much money going around and the people that are producing the value aren't getting a piece of it. So, yeah, it's going to be messy for a while, but the situation, the status quo is untenable, CC, and I think this leads to breaking it down. It can't sustain. Your favorite word. It's not sustainable is maybe a better way to put it.
Right. I think your conversation is a different conversation about the NCAA, but we're talking about the basketball, what's going on with these basketball coaches, football, and the other sports. I believe you're going to have a problem with what you would like to do because Title IX and equal dollars.
But just keep it to the shoe companies. Right now, the shoe companies can't pay the kids directly.
Right. That's another conversation, all right? This is a huge mess in basketball. We're going to see programs torn down. We're going to see coaches fired, and this is just the beginning of it. And anytime you have a legendary coach like Rick Pitino involved.
It's going to cost him his job.
Okay? Yes. And it should cost him his job.
3 scandals for him.
I mean, but even if this was his first one, if they paid the kid $100,000 this summer to play for Louisville, the kid came there on an unofficial visit.
That's a sweet jacket, though.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be tough for him to get beyond.
And we can't assume that this is the first time this has happened. We can't assume that this is the most money that has passed from hand to hand. We can't assume that this is the only program that this has happened to.
John Deere's.
Yeah, I'm just going to tell you, if your school happens to be an Adidas school, watch your coaches. Because all coaches last night in Division I were having staff meetings, and the head coach was saying, guys, please let me know. Is there something that I need to know? Because the feds are coming.
This is going to happen soon, no?
It's going to be a long process, but it's going to drag down a bunch of people.
Thank you for listening to the First Things First podcast. Remember, leave us a review and tell us what you think. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts and catch us on FS1 Monday through Friday, 6:30 a.m. Eastern on FS1. For Cris Carter and Nick Wright, I'm Jenna Wolfe. So long, everybody.